I can't love you if I'm not loving myself,
Right.
right? I can't be happy for you if I'm not happy for myself. And so if I'm trying to
I
support
can't love you more than you love
right,
yourself.
and if I'm trying to support you and I'm trying to support you in every way you're telling me you need support, but every time I try something, it's backfiring and it's making me feel down. At some point, I need to take a break and stop trying for me because now we're both going to be in the same situation.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life After I Do.
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
I am your host, Nisha G, and I am once again joined here with my co host,
Your husband,
my husband,
Molito,
Maurice Gill,
Molito.
also known as Molito.
You can call you. Never mind. Say it.
How was your week, babe?
It was a normal week. Nothing exciting happened. Nothing bad happened.
That's
I
good.
got through it. Um, I'm down a couple pounds,
Nice.
and we just take the small victories over here.
Yep. The small victories lead
I
to
don't know what it is, but
bigger.
I really want a pizza.
It's just your mind
I
playing tricks
can't.
on you. Actually, you can. I can make you a healthy one. You remember when, like, I
That doesn't
used to
sound
make the
good.
cauliflower
That
pizzas?
doesn't sound good.
But you used to like them when I make them.
Yeah,
Or did you pretend?
pretended.
No, you didn't. You liked it. You would eat like 2 of them.
Yes, maybe when you said that, no, you didn't. You liked it. That made me think about Vampire in Brooklyn.
Bye. No, but
Yeah.
seriously, now you got me thinking about it because I remember, like, I used to put all the veggies on there,
But
and then
like,
I
what
made
I
the one
like,
I made the
but
one with the vegan sausage that one time,
yeah,
and
see,
you liked
I
it.
don't like vegan anything.
That's why are you sitting up here capping?
I don't really like. I just eat it to support you. I just be trying to be supportive.
Maurice,
You got to also understand that that was a period
Maurice,
in my life where I was trying to get you to cook more.
Maurice, stop. That's not even we're talking recently. What are
How
you
recently?
talking about?
You made a homemade cauliflower pizza in a while because you
No,
talk about
I haven't made the cauliflower pizza, but you trying to act like you don't have like plant-based and vegan
oh
meals
no, I'm not saying we don't.
often.
No,
Like,
no,
stop it. And you talking about that was when
no.
I
I'm
was trying to
saying
get you
what
that
I'm
good
saying
part.
is
Cut it
no. I'm
out.
saying like there's vegan meals that you make that are fire, but they're not like they don't have like vegan meat in them. They're just like just all veggie meat,
Yeah.
just all veggies.
Yes, I can. Well, if okay, if you don't want, obviously, if you don't want the processed vegan meat, I
Yeah.
can also make the actual like
I
meat.
don't want no jackfruit.
I don't have to make it with jackfruit. I also know how to make it with walnuts.
Oh, okay. I mean, babe, this don't matter. Neither here nor there. We don't need it. How was your week, love?
My
Because
goodness.
you turned up tonight. You on
Because you're
10.
so irritating sometimes.
Why? Because I love you? Because I
No.
be speaking them facts?
No, you don't. Your perception of time is like your daughter's. It's off.
And your USB drive is always short on memory.
What? That was a good one. Anywho, yeah, my week was it was pretty routine, same old, same old. Her schedule, baby girl schedule, and just like my normal routine things at home, running errands, cleaning the house, doing laundry,
I
which is
will
the
say
bane of my
this.
existence.
I don't know what day I came home, but like I said, oh, this house is clean, clean. I
Yeah.
said she was on. I said, son,
It was probably Monday.
I don't know what day. I said she was on her Cinderella today.
Really? Good good damn bye. For Cinderella today.
I walked in. I said, "Ooh." I said, I don't even want to put my lunch in the sink right
It
now.
was probably Monday because Monday I did the floors.
I don't know. I walked in. I said, "Oh,
I
well,
did the floors on Monday. And usually when I do the floors, it's
all I
even like
know."
like the scent from the cleaning stuff like makes the
I
house smell
walked in.
good and
I said
everything
she
looks
must
super
want another
shiny.
baby.
I don't think it gave off that vibes.
It did.
If it did, let me spill some juice on the floor. let me let me go let me go ahead and do what
Oh
the
no,
opposite.
I walked in and the house was like, I said, it smelled good, it looked good in here. I said, oh my god, everything is glistening. I said, she
And
must
then you
want a
do what you
baby.
normally do. You come in and you empty out your damn lunch pail and you put dishes right in the sink when you don't see any dishes.
Ma'am, I have to get to bed. I don't have time to wash dishes at 10:30
You
at
could
night.
put them in the dishwasher.
You know, I don't. My brain don't go there. My brain goes, let's
I'd be
lay down.
like, who puts dishes in a sink where you see that there's no dishes? If you see there's no dishes, like that must
Okay,
mean the person
can
didn't want dishes in there.
can I ask you a question?
I
What's the
don't know. Is it about dishes?
what's the purpose of the sink?
Maurice, we're not going there. Stop it. Just stop.
I'm just
The
saying.
purpose of the sink is to give the water that comes from the faucet
Oh, somewhere to stand.
somewhere to go.
But that water's for what?
Rinsing cups.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
What we got today, baby?
Anywho, no, I wasn't done telling you about my week.
My bad. Well, go ahead, boo. Speak your truth.
Like I was saying.
I can't
Baby girl
stand
had
you.
Friday off, so I was kind of excited about that.
She
Actually,
got.
I was excited about that because for one, that meant I didn't have to like get up super early and deal with her nonsense that she be having going on these past few
I'm
weeks.
gonna be late.
She gonna be late, but she still moves at a snail's pace.
She don't.
Make it make sense.
She complained about being late when
Is
she's
she
seeing
she
film.
she's so terrified about being late places, but yet she doesn't like have
She don't
any
move.
type of pep in her step
She don't move at all.
at all. Like
She's
she moves at a snail's
stale.
pace. I'd be like, Phoenix, you're so concerned with being late
Yeah.
that it causes you to be inactive in your
Yeah.
movement.
She don't move. She don't move at
But I
all.
was happy that her and I got to sleep in a little bit, so we didn't have to get up as early. We got an extra day together, and like earlier today I was just like I was holding onto her and squeezing her really tight because I was like love bombing her, and I was like, I love you, I'm so happy that you're here. And she was like, okay, okay. So
Mm.
that was fun. But other than that, it was a pretty routine week, pretty successful week, so I'm excited about that. That was good, and your week was good too. So overall,
I paid bills, made money.
yep. So everybody do what they gotta do.
Now you got to cash that check you wrote.
Okay. Um. So today we're going to be talking about something that everyone kind of experiences it at one point or another. But it does get a little bit more challenging when you're experiencing it and going through it in a marriage, especially when your partner is the one that's going through it or vice versa. And that's depression. Um, in today's climate, I think everyone has their moments where they're feeling down or feeling low or actually feeling depressed. You have people who are clinically depressed. Some people it can get as bad as having to take medication or all different kinds of things. It ranges, you know what I mean? But going through a depression with someone presents in my opinion presents its own like level of concerns and level of issues and problems because even when you're the one that's depressed, I feel like you still are conscious that there is somebody else there.
No, you're not.
Uh, d- Listen to what I'm saying. You are still aware that there is somebody else there, and even when you're not at your best because of your depression, it can sometimes even make it worse because you know that you're not being your best self, and that could be hindering your partner.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Um.
Elaborate, because obviously you think differently.
I mean, I can only speak from experience.
Okay.
When I was depressed, I wasn't thinking about you.
Right. But that's what I'm saying.
I wasn't thinking about you at all.
Okay,
I
so
saw you, and thought about you in passing when I would see you.
yeah.
But every waking moment alone, I was just in my feelings,
Right.
and I was just dealing with what I was dealing with. I wasn't necessary. I was honestly trying to avoid the outside world. So if I'm trying to avoid the outside world, I'm not really embracing you.
Okay. So I mean for me, when I'm, in my low moments or having, depression moments, for me, I'm aware that you're there. And because I'm aware that you're there and I'm already having these like moments with myself and I'm having my own pity parties and all the negativity is kind of coming in and I'm not putting up the guard against the negativity. Me having the awareness that you are still there and me not being at the being my best self also means for me that I'm not either participating in our relationship, or I'm not, giving you what I perceive that you need for the moment, or I'm aware that I'm putting you on the back burner because mentally and emotionally, I just don't have the space right now. That's what I mean. And then from that, it further reinforces what I'm feeling
Mhm,
about myself, right?
mhm,
Because I know that I'm not taking my partner into account, because in this moment it's just about me and my feelings and what I'm going through and what I'm trying to get through.
mm.
Does that make sense?
Okay,
So that's what I mean by, being aware, like, of your partner.
well, I just say like most moments when I'm depressed, I'm not aware that I'm depressed until after I've been in it for a couple of days.
Yeah. What are some of the takes me into the question. What are some of the signs for you that kind of, like, it's kind of like that thing in your mind, you're like, "Oh shit, okay, I know what this is," because
My biggest sign is just lack of motivation, and when I ain't showered in 3 4 days,
right, self-care. That's
I'm like, whoa. I said, sometimes like when I get up, I'm like, man, I ain't shaved my head, I ain't shaved at all. Like my beard is a mess. My full Jefferson is in.
I mean,
I'm looking,
George rocked it, so.
I'm looking rough all the way around. I mean, I'm picking up 2 day old food off my shirt.
Okay,
You know what I'm
that's
saying? I'm
I
just saying.
I mean, I haven't witnessed that, but
I'm just saying like
I haven't witnessed
it's
that.
like that's what it is now. Now in the past, going through what I went through, it was, oh man, I'm on my third bottle of tequila and it's Thursday.
I don't remember you drinking
I
that
was I
much.
was drinking a lot. I was,
I mean, you were drinking, but I don't remember you drinking, like,
but here's
you
the
weren't, like, borderline alcoholic
see, I
unless you
was.
were drinking away from home.
I wasn't drinking away from home. You don't remember what our schedules were like.
I mean, we were kinda going and passing because that was
Right.
back at,
I
I
would
feel like that was at the height of my ambitious
it
self.
was.
So I was, like,
So
on
you
a
got
mission and I was
so
gone.
you gotta understand during that period you were gone like 16, 18 hours a day.
I was gone a lot
So
because I was on a mission.
and I would come home from work if I even went to work 8 9 in the morning. I'd probably drink around 11, drink around 1, drink around 2, nap. You would come home, then I'd have a drink with dinner, then I would nap and go to work. I
Mm.
was drinking a lot. You didn't see it because you wasn't there, but
Well,
now,
I probably didn't see it also because I had a lot of tunnel vision
right? Because you're so focused on
because I was focused on
your
work and
ambition. Worked.
school.
It worked in my favor.
Goodbye. N
It worked.
Goodbye.
It worked
But
because I'm telling you right now, because we didn't have a lot of money back then, and
right.
I would go. I would go. I'd go get my Jose, and I would either have shots,
Silver or gold.
silver, and I would either take shots or I would go get. You remember the blue Hawaiian punch? I would mix it
Oh,
with
yeah.
that. So a lot of times I'd be drinking it right in front of you. You would think I'm just drinking Hawaiian punch. It's like, no, it's alcohol in here. And I would just drink. I got this, and this is how like I'm like, okay, I need to slow down. I'm
Yeah.
doing too much.
I mean, for me on the outside looking in, being your partner, um, which, goes to the other section that I wanted to talk about, like, how does the depression affect your partner? Me on the outside looking in, I could see the lack of motivation. Um, I could see the lack of initiative, which is what, I think my biggest complaint was at that time,
Mhm.
because you weren't going to work like you were supposed to be,
Stop going to
and
school.
you stopped going to school. And for me, like I said, back at that time, it was like the height of my and like I said, ambitious self. You know what I mean? So I'm like going to school full time, working two jobs. He has a job. He was going to school, then he stopped. Like he would go to work maybe 3 days out of the week, and
No, no. Give me
yes,
credit. I would go to work like I would go to.
like 2 or 3 days out of the week,
There was
you were
some.
using your time, and I used to remember the joke was always, I used to always say, "If you weren't part of a union, you would not have a job." Like, the only reason why you have a job is because you're a part of a union, and I guess apparently, I don't know, I've never been a part of a union, but apparently it's not that easy to, like, fire somebody.
Well, I will say this. It wasn't the union helped a lot. I also had uh shouts out to them. I'm not gonna say their names, but I had two managers that understood what I was going through and
Mhm.
cut me a lot of slack.
Yeah. And
They
I
cut
think
me a lot of
and I
slack.
think that's what it was because you know, again, being your partner on the outside looking in. And mind you, this was before we were married. Um, but that's another reason why I feel as though I didn't pressure you as
Mhm.
much because I knew you were having a hard time. So
But
for people,
let me put this in perspective for people. In in a year in a year and a half, I missed 149 days of work
it's ridiculous.
in a year and a
It's
half.
ridiculous.
I don't know.
It's nothing but God that the man still has a job. It's nothing but God that the man still has progressed at the same job.
Like when
It's
I
nothing but God.
because I remember when I got the letter and I was like, dang, really? Like it's been that like that was kind of like a wake up call too. I was like, man, it's
Like
been
you gonna be
that many.
unemployed.
Now luckily for me, because of the union status I have, they can't just go straight to termination. They gotta go, hey,
They gotta go through steps.
it's gotta stop. So
Yeah,
obviously by the time they got to step two, I was like, okay, I can't lose my job. If I lose
right.
my job, she leaving for sure for
Yeah, it's like listen here, and I'm really sensitive to what you're going through. And just to give you guys a little background, he had went through a really bad depression when he lost his grandparents. And it was kind of a kind of a back to back thing because it was
No,
only
it
what
was back to
it
back.
was what how long in between a
It
year?
was it was I lost the 3 most important people to me 3 years in
Like
a row.
3 years in a row,
Like, you
right?
couldn't get over one without the next one happening.
Right.
It was really bad.
So it was one of those things where you can totally understand um the domino effect that it caused, especially being so young. Like we were what, 22,
22, 23, something like that.
22, 23, somewhere around there. No, like 21, 22.
No, it was 22, 23.
Okay. So where we were in our very early 20s and there was a lot going on, you know what I mean? We were out on our own. We had like our own place, our own bills, our own space. Like there was a lot going on and we had a
We
lot
had
of
that
responsibilities early on.
we had that chihuahua that we still have now, who will never let us go.
That's my baby. We had a lot going on and we've been together since high school, so we've had basically our game plan of like what the game plan was going to be, once we moved out, finished college, like the whole thing, like your 5-year plan, 10-year plan. And so when all of this started to happen, obviously a lot of those things got derailed and he went into a very deep depression. And it was one of those things from the outside looking in, from my perspective. The way I describe it is like when you get so down, so far down a black hole that you don't even realize that you are in a hole, like that
Mhm.
you don't even realize that you are not within light. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I can say, like, looking back now, like, I had good weeks and I had bad weeks. Like,
Yeah.
now, it wasn't just like I was missing, like, I had some weeks where I went to work all week.
Hmm.
Now, I may came come home early a couple days,
Yeah.
but I wasn't there all week.
But it wasn't
Right,
consistent.
it wasn't consistent, and I've had some days where I was my normal self and I could do things and I had some type of drive, and then I would be triggered by a memory or a moment, and it would just crush the week.
Hmm.
And it was like, and now looking back, I was like, yeah, like what I should have did was talk to somebody. I should have been talking to somebody to help me figure out what I was going through, but at the time, being, 22, 23, figuring all this out on my own, literally just being thrusted out into the world, like recently, and now I have like no support. Now, like I'm looking like all I have is you, because it's like um, I had no one else really there to hold me up. So that that was it was devastating to me, and it was something that I will still say to this day was mainly my biggest comeback, my biggest comeback.
Yeah. And when you say that it was devastating to you, like I feel like it was devastating. It was devastating for me to watch you go through that, right? Because as the partner on the outside, how do you help your partner? You know what I mean? Like I could be there for you. I could hold you. I could tell you everything's going to be okay. Like I could be the listening ear, the shoulder you need to cry on. But like what else can I do? Like you almost feel helpless. You know what I mean? Because this is somebody that you love. Like I knew that he was gonna be my husband. So it's like I'm already looking at him and I'm like, this is my husband. How do I help him in the lowest place where he is right now? And like you said, you did have weeks where you felt like you were kind of like normal. And for me on the outside looking in, that's where depression gets a little tricky sometimes because one minute you could feel like things are on the up and up. And it's like, okay, we're slowly creeping out of the storm, and then bam,
Like a brick wall.
it's like hitting a brick wall, and
Like
now we've regressed all the way back to point zero, and we've got to work our way back up the steps again, you
I
know?
I remember it. Um, my grandmother passed 19 days after my birthday. That's how I know I was 22.
Okay.
It was 19 days after my birthday. She passed. So my grandma passed when I was 22. My grandfather passed when I was 21. And then it was one of them things we know. Then the year before my grandfather had passed, my aunt passed. Right. So then it's one of those things where this time of year I hate this time of year. I do not like this time of year. I'm not a festive person. I don't get in the mood, and it's because I think about September is just hardest month for me
Yeah.
because it's my grandparents' birthdays. It's their wedding anniversary. It's like I remember all that every year, every day. It's rough, right? And then Christmas is always like one of those. Like I get some enjoyment out of Christmas now because of because of Phoenix and
Yeah.
her face and all that. But with my aunt's birthday being Christmas Eve, it's
Yeah.
like it's I'm thinking about
It's a constant
it's
reminder.
a constant reminder.
Yeah.
And my aunt had a thing where she did every Christmas morning, like she would wake people up singing the same song. And it's like it's the first thing I think about that day. And it's like how can you not deal, I mean, or not have to process those emotions every day or every time this come around. So like it would be things like that. So like I would have good moments. Like I'd be good in the summer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the second fall hit, and now I'm thinking about, oh, they would have been this age this year. Oh, that's what I'm saying. And then it's like once the winter hits, it's like, yeah, I'm a shell of myself. And
Yeah.
then it would kind of take spring for me to get back normal. Then I'd have another good summer, and then fall would hit. It was just a cycle that I would constantly go through
Yeah.
for years. And it's like, and I know like you tried to help me. Like, well, I mean, you did help me. Like you stayed around. You didn't just throw me out, whatever. But it's like I understand that at that moment now looking back, there's really nothing you could have done because it's one of those things where it is like depression really is a internal battle with yourself, and it's a fight that you really have to fight daily because a lot of times, like we were saying earlier, like I was saying earlier, like you don't understand what you're in it until you're
Right.
all the way
Until
in.
you're all the way
And
down
now
there.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like how did I get here?
Mhm.
And then like a lot of times it's like you activate the fight or flight, and a lot of times it's just flight.
Yeah.
It's like you just soak into it. So I mean, I suffer from that heavily.
It's like you give into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for I know for me, I the way my depression is I've always been good at giving a good face, right? Nobody ever knows. Like I mean, of
Okay.
course, you might because you're with me, you know me, but I'm talking about on the outside.
Oh
People
yeah. No one really
no.
knew.
Oh
No
no.
one. No one knew
No.
because I was still. I was a great actor.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I wasn't. Maurice that's going to go and hang out with you. I'm after work. I'm going home.
Yeah.
And if you're not talking about playing Call of Duty or something, you're not going to see me because
Yeah.
that's.
But see, like I feel like for me, I can be the opposite.
Are you gonna go out there?
Like I can because for me it's like I don't know how to explain it. When I'm I call it like my deep space, When I'm in my deep space, it's
Why you gotta do it with
almost
a voice like that?
huh?
My deep
My
space.
deep space.
Hey,
um I do it like I don't not like and I do it, but it's more of a thing like when I get to myself. You know what I mean? But I know how it shows up in my life. So when I get to a point where like I don't want like when I don't want to do things, right? Yes, I like might clean the house every day, but then you start noticing it's like, but I'm not gonna clean the room or I'm not gonna do this or
You're gonna clean the areas we use. Okay,
Right,
gotcha.
like that's it. I'm not gonna put in much effort to do anything else. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna comb my hair today.
You know what's
I'm not gonna.
you know what's a telltale time when you're not feeling yourself and you're down?
For who?
For you.
For me? What?
Yeah. When you go a couple days without wearing a bra.
Oh, that too.
I said she ain't wear a bra in 3 days. She
Well,
gonna feel
because that's also that, and that goes to one of the points that how it shows up in your life and how
I mean,
it
don't
affects
get me
you
wrong.
is self care.
Don't get me wrong. I have no problem with you not wearing a bra.
Bye. But
But
it's the self-care it's the self-care portion, like how you said, not showering, not doing my hair, not
no,
doing basic.
you shower regardless.
No, I will shower
Yeah, I
regardless.
won't. I just be like, yeah, it's
I will still I will still shower like for
I
myself.
will live in that room for 3 days.
Um but it's just something that it's I feel like mine is more closeted, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Like I get this thing where I don't want anyone to think that I'm not okay.
Mm,
That's what it
that's
is.
because I never
And
think
it
you're okay.
and it sucks sometimes because like if I do, for instance, like I have outlets, I have you, I have my best friend, things like that. But what if I'm having a moment where I'm not feeling the greatest and I am down and I'm a little depressed or whatever. And when I try to utilize one of my outlets, it's always like, really? I didn't even think that you were feeling that way. Or like I always get you're always so happy. You're always so positive. I try to have a positive outlook pretty much across the board. It's like how I try to genuinely live my life. But I am human and I do have moments where I'm not feeling the greatest and
Sure.
I'm not there mentally. Like I've told you before where I'll be like, I just don't have it mentally.
Yeah.
Like I really just I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be a bitch or anything. I'm not trying to act like I'm not trying to interact with you, but I really just don't have it right now. I'm mentally exhausted. I'm physically exhausted because I'm mentally exhausted. And then I start playing, all of the recordings that I have in my head about myself and that just makes it worse because it causes me to be inactive in aspects of my life. And then when that happens, then it's like, okay, well, that just reinforces the negative talk that's happening in my
Mm,
head.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So that's why I always say it's tricky sometimes because, like how you said, you don't know you're in it until you're in it, you know? But what I also wanted to talk about was the areas of the relationship that depression can impact, right? Um,
I think it
Intimacy.
impacts every area.
It does impact every area, but some of the poignant, areas that it does impact, especially when you are married and you have a partner that's going through depression. One of the biggest areas too can impact is intimacy.
I think us as men, we gonna find a reason to be
Uh,
intimate. We gonna get over that.
You're gonna be like, that is what's gonna bring me out of the
It's gonna help. It's
that's
gonna help. It's gonna definitely trigger some
yeah,
endorphins.
but
It's gonna
see,
help.
for me, and I know for a lot of women, it is not that way
Yeah,
at all.
to each his own.
That's like not even on the list of things that has to get done.
Really?
Really. That's how I be feeling.
Okay.
Like when I'm down and out, I'd be like, I mean, I'm straight.
If you straight, I'm straight.
I got
Fuck, I can't stand when you say that shit.
I gotta make sure you straight. But
I mean, I just go ahead and get it.
just wait.
I'm like,
Just look,
I'm good.
babe. Just do your business.
Nah, I'm good.
He just climbed on me and did his
This is
business.
not a color purple situation over here.
No, it's not.
I would just walk out. Like, nah, I'm good.
No, but seriously, it affects, for me, the emotional gets affected, so therefore the physical gets affected. Like I said, I can get physically exhausted because I'm mentally exhausted. Does that make sense? So I'm not
It
always
makes perfect sense to me because I'm exhausted every day, and I don't have a very physical job.
right,
It's
right.
mentally
It's the mental. So the intimacy portion can greatly suffer. Not wanting to be intimate, not wanting to be close, not wanting to or having the desire to be
Mhm,
physically intimate with your partner because of depression. I think that's really huge,
mhm,
right? Because then that can spill over into other areas
yeah,
like family, kids, self-care, all of it gets tied into each other, you know?
mhm.
Would
I
you
agree.
Mhm.
I agree. I'm agreeing.
So what advice would you give a friend who is married and who has a partner who is depressed and they're trying to navigate the difficulties of being a supportive partner to a partner who is depressed?
I would just say at the end of the day, all you can do is be there for them in whatever way they allow you to be there for them. Because you have to, I always say, when it comes to healing and forgiving, it is not your timetable; it is their timetable. So you just have to be there for them in whatever capacity they allow you to be there for them, and just encourage them to have someone to talk to. It's that simple to me. See, I mean, if they don't want to talk to a professional, they have to talk to a friend. It's really that simple.
Yeah. Make sure you have an outlet.
Yeah.
If it's to a point where professional intervention needs to come in,
I mean, it's never a bad idea to have professional intervention.
it really isn't. It really isn't. But if you just feel like the best way you can help your partner is by encouraging them to get professional help, then
Mm,
I always say like that should be something. What are you doing?
my shirt's all wrinkly.
Oh my gosh. That should be something that should be on the table. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Encouraging to get some type of professional help because it can be difficult. And like how you said, being there for them in the capacity that they allow you. But
Yeah.
sometimes when you're in it, you don't even know how you could be best be supported.
Well, I mean, you don't know,
You
but
you
what
know?
I'm saying, like from the outside looking in, it's like anything in a relationship, regardless of what, whether if your partner's depressed, upset, dealing with anxiety, whatever it is, their timetable has to be their timetable.
Yeah,
You can't force your timetable onto them. So you can't say, oh, she should be over it or he should be over it by now. Or no, it's like their timetable is their timetable. And
right.
that's one thing I always say is like it's up to them to be ready to, get out of that situation, regardless of what that situation would be. It's up to them to be able to start making the steps to get back to where it was previously.
Okay. That's pretty fair.
No, it's not pretty fair. It's fair.
No, okay. Don't have to get so defensive.
I'm not defensive. It's factual.
Okay. So, I mean, but basically, in a nutshell, like navigating depression in general is difficult, right? Everyone shows depression in different ways. And when you're navigating depression with a partner, even when it's difficult to know that you still have a partner there, that's the purpose of you, like, having being married and having a partner is to know that you still have somebody there that you can lean on, somebody that you can trust, somebody who's going to be there for you to hold you while you go through this, and support you.
Right. And the big thing as a partner, what you need to do is show them that you support them.
Right.
Right now, I am in favor of like you show them support, but you also have to have your limits as well because you don't want, granted, you don't want what they're going through to take a toll on you to the point to where now it's starting to affect you negatively.
Hmm.
So there
Where
has
you
to
can't be the
right
support.
where you can't be support. So there has to be limits on. I mean, as wrong as it sounds,
Yeah.
there has to be limits. Like because at the end of the day, like I can't love you if I'm not loving myself.
Right.
Right? I can't be happy for you if I'm not happy for myself.
Yeah.
And so if I'm trying to
And I can't
support
love you more than you love
right,
yourself.
and if I'm trying to support you and I'm trying to support you in every way you're telling me you need support, but every time I try something, it's backfiring and it's making me feel down. At some point, I need to take a break and stop trying for me because now we're both going to be in the same situation. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because like, well, damn, if you're already in the dumps or in your deep space, right?
Mhm.
And if I'm starting to feel like, well, shit, I can't do anything right, then it's like, well, what do I do? Now I'm starting to feel helpless. So now we got two people that are like, oh, well, we're both helpless now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there has to be a limit on what is um tolerated and like dished out, so to speak. You know what I mean?
So that kind of makes me think about like how you talked about the ultimatum.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's kind of like what that was.
I mean, the ultimatum was fair. I was fucking up.
Yeah, but I mean it didn't come from a place of like trying to mirror to you your mishaps and your fuck ups or whatever, you know?
No,
It was coming from a place of like, okay, time has passed. We were like 2 years, I believe, in or so after all of this had.
like 3, 4 years in.
Yeah, it was some significant time. But the remnants of his depression and the habits that he picked up during the depression were pretty much becoming a way of life. And it was getting to that point to where I had to really sit down and evaluate my life. Like that's what it made me do. It made me sit down and say, "Okay, what is it that I want and what is it what it let's get on a better surface of knowing what it is that you want to and what are we doing here together and what are we still working towards what we set out to work towards because we're like you said 3 or 4 years post your trauma that's happened and we should be making strides so that you personally could be in a better headspace so that we could get back on our mission as a team
Right.
to achieve what we wanted to achieve. So that's when I had came to him and I set him down and it was with love
Yeah,
that
you had some anger in there,
I
but you know I
did,
like that shit though.
but not like anger like rah rah rah. But when we initially sat down and had the conversation, I was very mindful of how I wanted my words to translate to you because I wanted you to understand that the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because I love you so much and I love what we have built so far and I know what we could be, but if you don't get out of your own way, then it's not like nothing's going to come of this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then at some point I'm pretty sure I said that to you that it becomes unfair to me.
Oh no, you said that at least 8 times.
Okay, bye.
That
Um
that was a keynote of the speech.
but I think
It is
I think
unfair to me.
I think the part that
It
got
is unfair to me.
goodbye. I think the part
I
that
don't think
got
you hear
through
what
to
I'm
you,
saying. It is unfair
I did not
to
say it like that.
me.
Stop it. I think the part that got through to you because I will never ever forget the look on your face when I said this to you. Um I had looked you in your face and we were talking and you had said something else to me and I had said something else to you and I just remember I was crying and I was looking at you and I had said to you I said, I am happy that I did not marry you when you asked.
Yeah, that shit kind of hurt.
And the look in your face,
That hurt. That shit
the
hurt.
look in your
That shit hurt.
face, I mean, I could see like it looked as though like in my head I was like, "Oh my gosh, I just broke him."
That shit
Like
hurt.
that was it.
That shit hurt.
That was it,
That shit hurt.
And it was not to be mean, but
No,
we
that
were
shit was
having
mean.
no, it wasn't. We were having hard conversation,
Mhm.
you know? And I'm grateful that we were able to have a hard conversation like that and that I was able to be as transparent as I was and you were really able to be as transparent with your responses as you were because I feel like that's what kind of set the foundation for our marriage going into it about us being as honest as we can be
Mhm.
when talking to each other and trying to be mindful about when we do need to have a hard conversation. Like,
I
it's
think
not gonna be, you may not like what I'm gonna say,
yeah.
but this is my truth.
But I think that's like the beginning of us having. But we've had a lot of hard conversations since then as well.
Yeah. But I feel like that's where it kind of started.
I will say this. I will say this. My one thing about the ultimatum is that it. the ultimatum was the point to where I actually was probably the first time in that 4 to 5 year span when I was actually able to look outside myself and actually see how my behavior was
Affecting your own life.
affecting you as well as myself, right?
Yeah.
And and low key, like you said, when you said that, that shit did hurt. Like that's why I didn't.
I know, I saw it in
Yeah,
your
yeah,
eyes.
yeah. One to side you.
Mm.
But I'm not a violent person.
Wow.
And but like when you said that, it triggered in me. It's like, yeah, this is not the life that I would want to give her. Like this is not the life that I promised her. This is not the life we talked about in school. So yeah, like that did like trigger something in me to be able to be strong enough to fight my demons. Now I'm not saying that I changed overnight.
Absolutely
Lord
not.
knows I did not change
And
overnight.
nor was I looking
You
for
know,
a change overnight.
you
I
know,
was
like
just looking for the effort. Like at that point, I could see that there was very minimal effort that you were putting into your life.
because Lord
And the
knows.
reason why I always say your life is because, like I've always said to you, if we are going to be in this together and I am to be your wife, my life is tied to your life. The
Mm.
decisions that you make are going to impact me. The way you treat yourself is going to impact me. The way you spend your money is going to impact me.
No,
Like
the way you
everything,
spend my money.
goodbye. The way you do, the way you carry yourself and the way you
Mhm,
live your life
mhm.
is going to have an impact on me. Do you know what I mean? And vice versa. The things that I do is going to have an impact
Right.
on you because we are doing life together. So,
Now, don't get me wrong. There's still some times where I'll be like, I'm not feeling work this week,
oh, I
and
know.
I'll miss
I
3 4
know.
days just so I
And
can.
but when you started getting better and when it came to the whole work thing, I feel like for me for the longest time that was always a trigger.
Oh yeah.
Like when I knew it wasn't a situation where you're going to be missing weeks of work, he would be like, oh, I need to take a mental health day, and like instantly my flags would be like like I would be flying like flags behind me. It is just a trigger, like a trigger for me
But you
when he
did
does
good
when he was like,
but
I'm not gonna go to work today. I'm like, to hell you ain't. You going to work.
you got a lot better at that because I didn't work Monday and you didn't.
But see, and now it's different. When you take a day off from work, I'd be like, yes, like take a day off. Or if I ask you and I'll be like, hey, so you coming home early on Friday? Or you should just take Friday off. Because it's different now because for one, we have a whole child. And two, we're in this space where we don't get a lot of time together. And I do know how hard you work. And I do, see all the things that you do. So it's the opposite now. Like I would love to have more time with you. If you do have time where you can use a personal day or use a mental health day and be home with like us or do something for yourself, whether it's going to the chiropractor or going to get a massage or whatever it is. I'm game for that. You know what I mean? Because I know you're not missing 4 and 5 days worth of
If I
work.
could, I would.
I know you would.
Don't get it
Don't
twisted.
tempt me with a good time.
'Cause I do not
If
want
they
to.
still paid him 60 hours not to come in,
I
he
would.
would definitely do it.
I'd sleep at home and get paid.
Bye. But yeah, but I think it's just one of those things that it's a really tough situation to get through. You don't know what it's going to look like on the other end. And when you're going through it, it could really feel like it could be the end because you don't know what's going on with your partner, right?
Right.
You don't know how long there's like you said there's no time limit.
Hmm.
If your partner is actually truly experiencing depression, there's no time limit.
Well,
Well, this could be a week, this
it
could
could be
be a month,
years.
it could be years.
Well,
We
I
were
would.
in that for what, 3
Yeah.
years, 4 years?
I would say this from experience. It's like nothing's going to change until that person wants change, like really wants change.
Mhm.
Like when
They have
we
to recognize there's a
like
problem.
I said, like so when we sat down, we had a conversation. You get off like I wanted change, so that was my driving force behind the way I was moving.
Mhm.
I know individuals that are in depression that don't want change,
Right.
and they let any little thing as a trigger, to for them to relapse or not do something.
Yeah.
So it's like I recognize it's like yeah, you can have all the right people in your ear that you want. You can have all the positive people around you that you need. If you're not willing to make the change internally, that's why I always say it's their timetable.
Yeah.
It has to be their timetable because you cannot force them to want to change. And that's why I think it becomes hard on some people because it's like, well, I'm doing everything I can so that he doesn't feel this way or she doesn't feel that way. It was like, yeah,
Like you're trying to rush him through
I
it.
get that.
Yeah.
But what you have to understand is that you want them where you want them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to, but as a lot of times in marriage, you have to meet them where they are, and then
Work from there.
ride the wave up.
Hmm.
You can't just always expect the person to be here. This is you're here. This is you know what I'm saying. So
Or to
some
snap out of
right,
it.
right, because
Yeah.
it's not always instant. And then the way life is, there's always things being thrown at you. There's always hurdles to jump over. There's always, rocks to walk around. So it's like, and if you have a person that can't really navigate their depression or their feelings, they're gonna feel like everything is a setback.
Yep.
Like a regular traffic light is the vein of their existence.
Yep.
Like
Everything is more heightened.
so it's like you have to understand that it doesn't really matter what you say if that person isn't ready,
No.
nothing much is gonna change.
Yep. Agreed. It's not on your timetable. It is on theirs. Yeah. I think I think that's pretty good to wrap it on up right there. So now we're gonna go into reaction.
Reaction time.
The reaction time.
Or what you call it, my 2 cents?
Yes, our two
Our
cents.
2 cents.
Um,
Four.
being married to someone with a depression really sucks sometimes. Um,
That's the title?
that's the title.
Oh, that's on topic, huh?
Yep. My wife and I have been married for 10 years and things have gone fairly well, except she suffers from chronic depression and it gets hard to handle at times. She's been in and out of therapy, which helps with her depression, but it gets hard to handle. She gets very unresponsive, leaving me to handle things like the house, taking care of the kids, etc. I love her, but damn, it's a lot to juggle, and I genuinely hate at times that I don't feel like I want to talk to her or that I can talk to her about it since it wouldn't help her mental health. And that's really not her fault. I just need to scream into a void. Any advice?
Um, my advice would be simple. Support her
Hmm.
in any way you can, but to that point, you also need to do things where you can let out your frustration,
Hmm.
right? So
Feel like you need an outlet.
you have to find your outlet, your balance in order you have to find something to do that will give you enough energy and strength to deal with what she's dealing with.
So basically, you need to make sure your cup is constantly filled
Right.
so that you can better
Right.
support and continuously support your wife because like you said, you know it's not to a fault of her own that
Hmm.
she's going through this, but it doesn't negate the fact that it gets difficult for you as the partner
Hmm.
going through it with her. And then one of the aspects of her depression is that she kind of neglects things like taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, so that leaves you taking on more than what you normally would in
Hmm.
service of your wife.
Right.
So,
And it's a situation to where you have to be 100 with yourself.
yeah.
And, I wouldn't say I wouldn't hold anything over her head. Like, you do what you would normally do, and then you're gonna have to help her with what she would normally do. It's
Mhm.
just one of those things where it's one of those things in relationship and marriage where, um, like we said, it's never always 50-50. It's
Right.
never 50-50.
Never.
This is one of those times where you're gonna have to carry the 80, or you're gonna have to carry the 90, and
Yep.
it's like, and if she's the one that you believe she's the one,
That's his wife.
you should be more than willing to do
He
that.
he believed it was the one. In sickness and in health.
For richer or richer.
Bye. But I mean it's true, it's not one of those things that's 50-50. And this is a moment where he's gonna have to carry the 90 because his wife can only do 10. Um
Like, I'm at 15% right
this just made me think about something I heard from Brene Brown. Shouts out to Brene
now. I don't
Brown.
know what it is.
Um but she's I guess you can consider her. She's an author and a philanthropist and things like that. I
Okay.
really like her. But she had written a book about like conquering bravery and stuff like that. Anywho, I had saw her on an interview, and a system that her and her husband use, like when they come home or whatever, and there's things that need to be done, dinner needs to be cooked, whatever. He'll ask her, "Where are you at?" And she'll be like, "I've only got 40%."
Mm.
And he'll be like, "Okay, well, I'm operating at like 60%. So I can
So what we ordering?
so I can take care of right, I can take care of this if you know what I'm saying? But it's kind of
Yeah,
like giving each other giving each other like a temperature gauge.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what if you're only operating at 20%, what can you handle with your
Well,
20%?
I don't think that will really work for us because I feel like Monday through Friday, I'm at like 20%. I can only give you
Monday
like
through Friday, I have to carry 80.
on the weekends though.
I carry 80
On weekend,
Monday through Friday.
on Saturday and Sunday, I can give you 85, 90.
Uh, you could, but do
I
you?
don't. I
Okay.
said I could.
You s you hear that? You hear that?
I said I
See?
could.
That's his
But
toxic trait, y'all.
that's not toxic because when I need to give you 90, I give it to you.
Okay.
But you don't always
Okay,
give it
well,
to
I
me.
want 90.
This weekend ain't a good
See?
weekend.
Listen, listen to him. This is what I be going through. This is what I be going
Well, you
through.
know what it is, baby. It's the busy season.
Oh, I
You
don't wanna
know.
hear it. I don't wanna hear it. The busy season my foot. I don't wanna hear
I
it.
mean, come on. We're not gonna.
But anywho,
You know what
yes,
I mean?
this is one of those moments where you have to carry the 90. Your wife is only carrying the 10. And that's the part of the teamwork. And
That's
kudos to you for
right.
even, like putting yourself out there and saying something about how you're feeling, especially from like the husband portion of it
Mhm.
all, because I feel like sometimes we don't hear enough of that. So pour into yourself so that you can continue to pour into your wife.
Yeah. We got another one.
Mm.
That's it. That's it for today.
That's it. So this has been another episode of Life After I Do. Don't forget to tune in every Wednesday. You get a new episode every Wednesday. Follow us on all social media platforms. We are on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram,
We're not on all.
YouTube. Well, not all of them. The bigger ones, the ones that y'all know about.
They know
At
about them.
Life After I Do podcast. Don't forget to like the videos and share, leave us a comment. If you want to reach out to us, you can always reach out to us at lifeafteridopodcast@gmail.com. If
And
you
we appreciate all the support.
all the support, yes,
We appreciate the growth. We
we
appreciate
really
you.
do. So if you're not already following us, go ahead and give us a follow. And we are going to be on all digital streaming platforms for the podcast itself. And until next week, it's
Peace.
peace.